I'm Lisa, the artist behind Lachri Fine Art. It is Tuesday, so I am here to critique one of your original paintings or drawings. If you have an original painting or drawing that you would like to submit for critique, head over to my website, lachri.com/critiques. Link is below in the video description and you can submit your work there. Today we're taking a look at this collie that was completed in pastels. The artist wishes to remain anonymous for this one. For this piece, the reference photo was super tiny. Like, I wouldn't even consider working from super tiny. I can't believe that you did such a good job on this considering your reference photo. Very impressed that you did get such good results this way. So we're going to take a look at a few things that we can do to improve on this piece even more. Now generally, if I've got a reference photo that's really just not going to work, but for whatever reason I have to use that photo, whether it means I can't get another photo of the dog or whatever else, if for whatever reason I decide to go ahead and do the portrait given that bad reference photo, I'm going to go and go online. In this case, I would just do a Google search for a sable collie, and just to have something to look at to reference so you can more clearly see how the nose is shaped, how the eyes lay on the face, just different details like that just to refer back to. I'm not saying copy these random photos exactly, but just something that you can see more detail on, which very well may be what you did in this case, I'm not sure. But for the rest of you, that is what I would do if I had a photo that is just, I can't see that any detail. If it's a breed like a collie, where as long as I can see where the markings are and the colors, most of their facial structure is going to be very similar. So you can look at any sable collie and have a general idea of how the nose lines up with the rest of the face or whatever else. So the first thing that I'm going to do on this one is just add highlights all over the place. A few shadows. I did shade the right side of the face a little bit and shadowed around that eye on the same side of the face, where I just kind of pulled the inside corner out a little bit. Then I just went around and added highlights all over the place. Looking at other photos of other collies, I can see generally where the highlights are going to go. I'm also very familiar with this breed. I grew up with a tricolored collie, so I have a general understanding of how their coats lay. I spent hours grooming that dog. But throwing in these extra highlights and some extra shadows, it really is going to make a huge difference in the overall depth of your piece. And in this case, it works out really well because you are working in pastels. It's really easy to layer those lighter colors on top. If you've gotten to a point where you have so many layers on there that it's just not taking additional pastel, you can lightly mix a workable fixative over the piece and then continue working on top of that, and it just makes it so that more of the pastel will stick to it. Now when you spray a workable fixative, just be aware it can darken the colors that you already have, which is not a big deal because you're not finished anyway. You're just going to add more layers on top of that so you can lighten them back up as needed. Based on your reference photo, it looks like the collie has a bit of white on the bridge of his nose, her nose. I'm not sure if it was a male or female, but so I've added that. And then really when I added the highlights, I used that as an opportunity to define a few more of the clumps of fur. And I know if a collie is freshly groomed, their coat is very cottony. You're not going to see a whole lot of individual strands, but when you're doing pet portraits, it does look better if you add a few of those in there. You don't want to go crazy because you will end up with what looks like a wire coat, which not ideal, but if you can just add a few more clumps, define the fur just a little bit better, it will look better in the end portrait. Over the darker, almost black areas, I've added a grayish blue for my highlights, and that just makes the coat look so much shinier. For the highlights on the eyes, the only thing that I really changed here was that you've got just a dot for the highlight. If you make a slightly kind of translucent, so I use in this case again that light kind of grayish blue that I used on the darker areas of the coat, if you add a slight curve to that shine, it makes the eye look more three-dimensional and not flat. It makes a huge difference. Just just a hint of a curve. For the nose, I went through and added a little bit more detail, and I could probably use even more, but you'd want to watch that you don't just have a black circle with a highlight on it because it ends up looking kind of like a stuffed toy or stuffed animal's nose, that button nose look. So by adding a little bit more detail and depth in there, and if your photo, like in this photo, you can't see any detail in your reference photo, so just find a photo of another collie's nose and to generally see where the detail would go there, that will make a big difference. For the mouth, now you have, I don't know if it was a water droplet or if it was a tooth, I'm not sure what's going on. There's like too much of a highlight or a circle thing on the lip. I've removed that completely. The fact that I look at it and I'm not sure what it is pretty much says we need to go ahead and take that out. So I've dropped that one out, and then I've adjusted the teeth a little bit so that they're not just on half of the face. And notice with the teeth, they're only a hint of teeth. I'm not sitting there and drawing little chiclets because that's something that I see a lot of people do. They're just kind of the hint of where the the teeth go because the tongue is covering most of them. With those few little adjustments, it will make a big difference in adding more depth to an already strong piece considering the reference photo that you worked from. You don't need a lot of work here. I did this very, very quickly on my tablet, so I know it'll be really quick with your pastels. Again, I am so impressed with how far you've gotten with that reference photo. You should be really proud of yourself. Great work. I would just go through, add these highlights and shadows, and it will be that much better. If any of you guys would like to submit one of your original paintings or drawings for critique, again, head over to my website, lachri.com/critiques. You can submit your work there. If you're new here, I have new video critiques every Tuesday where I'm critiquing your original paintings or drawings, my own speed paintings, drawings, and tutorials every Wednesday, and vlogs every weekend. So make sure you subscribe and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, all those social media sites. Links are below in the video description. You can keep up with news, my newest work, and see real-time clips of whatever it is I am currently working on. Keeping with the pet portrait theme, don't forget to head back tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about doing a more impressionistic style for getting a strong grasp of your lights and your darks, which you can then apply to more realistic styles. I'll see you guys tomorrow.